Hi there. Now, today we're going to be building this item here, which is called a Starpoint element. Now, again, as with all our elements, they're all built pretty much the same way. So if you check out our website, you'll see a lot of videos there that show you how these things go together, and you'll probably, by the process of elimination, work out how everything goes together. But nevertheless, what we'll do is we'll build this one up. Now, this is just the basic one, which is the core flute base. There's obviously different versions. There's the ACM versions and ones with pixels coming through the face and so forth. But for the sake of this tutorial, we'll build this one. The rest of them are built pretty much all the same way. So, as usual, you'll need your usual things: standing knives, screwdrivers, drill bits, and so forth. Again, you get these folded, you get them delivered, and the first thing you do, obviously, is like all other elements, is you put the clear tape down to secure the face into one piece. Bring that over and trim them up there, just get that edge off there. Beautiful. Bring that up. Do the other side. Now, again, like I've said in other videos, you can actually add extra tape if you like. We don't think you need to, but that secures it quite well together. And that's the basis. That's your face. Again, blue dot just as a reference point to start with. Now, first step, as always, is the F-sides. Now you'll see these bits are cut off on the ends here. That's because of the fact that when you machine these things, it knocks off the end corner. So we tend to just trim those off, which is a bit of a pity, but nevertheless, that's just what happens. So you're going to get your F-sides, again, we're packed individually. You'll get two F-sides. You'll get, obviously, a long one and a short one. So the long one and the short one. And again, these have got the slits in them. And what you'll do, obviously, is bend them around and so forth, and stick them in position. So we'll just proceed and do one side first. So because this is quite long, you're probably better off just doing one side at a time than sticking the other side on. I mean, you can do both sides if you like. I mean, I probably will do that myself, because I can actually do that, and I have made a few of these, so I'll just run the glue along to both sides. Like I said, it's just a matter of practice as to whether you want to do both sides or not. So I will stick him on there like that. So get the corner lined up, and just turn that around here. Let's get that corner lined up there for the unit. Don't go past here, because then you'll have an overlap on the front and you'll see that. So when you bend that around, you'll have a little bit sticking off on the end there. So if you can see that, there'll be a little bit off on the end there, so that will be nice and flush there. Again, as I do with all the elements, stick a little bit of tape down just to hold it in position. Given the length of this one, probably do 3 pieces there on both sides. Just stops you knocking it. I mean, the glue does go off pretty quickly, but it certainly doesn't hurt to have the tape there. Okay. So you can see what I've done there. There's the first part made. Alright. Now, again, these will be a little bit longer than what's required, so you can just trim those off where you think is necessary. So you'll get the short one. There's a short one here. Just always dry fit him first. Make sure you're happy with it. Just check both sides. Machining sometimes makes irregularities in the trimming length. So short ones you can stick on in one piece, I guess, if you like. So you can see what I've done there. So if you've checked out our other videos, you've seen how this works. Tape in the corner, like that. Tape down on the side there. Hold it in position. One on the other side, just so he doesn't stretch out. Okay, so you can see what's happening there. Pretty simple. So what I'll do is I'll just I'll build this up completely, just to save a bit of monotony on the video. and then I'll come back and I'll show you the next step. Okay, now I've just brought you back a little bit earlier than I haven't finished this completely. What I wanted to show you was I neglected to show you before, was that when you're trimming these things, you just need to give it, just trim off a little bit at a time, double check it again, make sure that you're happy with the length, trim off a little bit more. Don't trim off a big chunk and then find yourself that you're short, which I guess you can fill that in, but you're better off just making sure that you're happy with it, just giving it a little bit more. So you can see I'm just trimming just the slightest. I'm trimming off about 2-3 mil there at a time. Fit him in position, and then once you're happy with it, now you only really need to trim this side off here, the side that's joining onto the or the piece that you're joining onto the short side, because this side you can trim off at the end. So we'll just stick that one on. Should have enough glue there. I do both sides at once because I find it easier for them to stay in position. Of course, you don't get a lot of time once you stick these down to get them in position, so you do whatever you're comfortable with. So there you go, I've done that. I've stuck him down there. Now, because these sides are a little bit narrower than the usual ones, you'll find they'll sit in quite well. You're not going to have them buckling over. So I'm sticking him down there like that. Stick the corners down just to compress them a bit, because you can squeeze them a bit just to get the shape right, but you don't want them sticking out too far. So I'll stick one down there, stick another one down here, and another one down there. Now you can see here that okay, so that's just about done. As you can see here, I'm actually quite long there, past there, so and both of those are quite long. Okay, so they'll both need to be trimmed to fit that last guy in there. Now, generally speaking, these little ones are almost about the right size. Just check both sides to make sure that you're happy with them. So just give him a little trim there. See how we go there. Once you're happy with it, now you can see what I'm doing. Once I've got this guy down, I can trim those other two bits off. But I suggest that you do those before. So maybe just either do it by eye, work out where you're going to trim them off to. So I'm going to trim them off there like that. Do that before, because it's a bit hard to get the knife in afterwards. So just trim them off there like that. Have them in position there. So you can see I'm going to trim off there. So you can see that's quite easy to do. And then you've got your thing ready to go. Stick him down. Need some more glue. Stick him down there, and you're ready to go for the next step. So put him down there. Like that, and like that. Again in the corner there, just to hold the corners in. Right there. Make sure you get those edges nice and straight. And one more here. Just push him down there like that, and there you go. Alright, now you're done. Now, it's pretty simple. This is one of the simpler ones to build. Still effective though. We also call it a North Star or North Point Star or something like that. Can't remember what it's called. Okay, so there's your F sides all built. Again, don't put any glue into the corners here. We're going to be doing that now with the F ribs, standard ribs that we use. Of course, they'll only go one way. We've got one will go in here, and they're symmetrical, so the other one will go in here. So if you want, you can actually trim a bit off the ends if you don't want them to go that close. Not necessary, but you can give yourself a little bit more space in there. So again, we'll with the glue gun in there and in there. Now you probably, depending on your style of gun, depends how far you can get in there, but if you want to add a little bit on the end there, because I can't get in all the way. So get him in and stick him down. And as usual with what I've said in my other videos, you can run a bit of extra glue along there if you like, you know, just to make it a little bit stronger. It's up to you as to how you feel you want to do that. So you can see what we're doing here. A little bit of glue in there. Right. So you can see I can't get the glue gun in all the way there, so I'm just going to run a little bit on the end there, which gives me just a little bit of extra stick when I put this guy down. Now, most people would use hot glue. I've known some people to use silicone when they do these things, but I'm not sure that's actually a good idea. Silicone doesn't go off as quickly as the hot glue. Okay, so you can see there. So just keep an eye, just dry fit them first, which I'm not doing obviously, but because you might find that you'll have to, and if you get some, you might just have to snap them a bit. You might have to check that you don't have to trim a little bit off there, which I do on this one, just to get that. Look, it doesn't hurt to dry fit everything. Just you're happy with that it fits in the right position. Whoops, put that in the wrong side. Put it on this side. So see that. I mean, if you've seen our other videos, you know that does the job to trim a little bit off here. You can see that it worked quite well. The on that way like that to make the star very secure. So that's that there like that. That's good. That's there. Okay, dry in there like that. See that fits. That fits all right. That's good. And again, you can start wherever you like. You don't have to start with the blue point, blue dot, I should say. That's just a reference point, so you know where you start and finish, sort of thing. And it just lines up the back when you fit the back on. So 2 more. So snap that one. That goes there like that on this side. And you can see here that the process is quite simple. So that's that. Last one to go. Snap him off. Just fit him in there. Make sure he fits. Trim him off if he doesn't. A little bit at the end there. Get him in there like that. The glue, of course. A little bit more glue in there. And we're done. Look at that. Beautiful. Now this isn't. This is a pretty compact little item, so it's pretty solid even before you put the anchors on. But of course we will put anchors on because we need to. So you can see that's all done there like that. That's all fitted. That's all done, ready to go. All right. So I will stop the video now, and I'll come back and we'll start putting in the anchors. Okay, so we're ready to go now with the anchors. So again, as usual, remember to peel this bit of tape off if you've applied it, because it's a real nuisance if you leave it on there and you get like a little bit of a shadow when the thing lights up. So just remember to peel all those off. And it'll save you a whole heap of grief afterwards, because it's really hard to get them off after you put the anchors on. Okay, that's done there. That's good. That's good. This bit off here. So these anchors are they're similar to other ones that we've done. Here's your anchor here. There'll be these have a red line on one side, nothing on the other side. They basically glue in between the red line, fold over, and then that becomes the anchor, which then fits into this corner here. So we'll just go along and there's 8 of those obviously, so we'll just go along and build these up first, just so you can see what I'm doing there. There's one. So just a dab of glue is plenty, just to hold them in place. 2. I think it's easier just to build them all as you go, that way you know you've done the right thing. They can only fold one way obviously, they can't fold the other way. So, over there like that. That's 4. So, again, these they do the job quite well when you screw fix them in. So you won't need to worry about any other extra screws. Once you've fitted these, given that the unit is so small, we supply 8, but you don't necessarily need 8 fixings. There's 8 of these because they hold the corners together. So they obviously hold these corners together. They have that added bonus of holding the corners together, I should say. So we'll just whack those guys in. Again, as usual with all these things, you make sure that they sit flush at the top there, so that when the back goes on, it'll sit nice and neat. So it gives you a fixing point, and it also holds the corners together, so that they don't come apart. Now, after you've fixed all these anchors in, you can run some glue in the corners here, just to give a little bit of extra strength, seal it up a bit. As with all these units, if you feel that you want to make them a little bit more water and moisture proof, run some silicone sealant around there, just to give them a little. I mean, you'll never make them waterproof, obviously, but you can certainly stop a lot of the moisture getting in there to keep them a bit cleaner. So you can see what we're doing there. We're going all the way around, and certainly gives those corners just that little bit of extra strength there to hold together so that they don't come apart on you. Now, once you've done this, what you're probably thinking is, well, how are you going to hold those? How are you going to hold those long parts of the star in, the long corners? Well, yes, I anticipated that question. So you've got those 8 points there. They will hold the corners together, give it a bit of stability, and act as a fixing point for the back. So, yes, these corners will need something, because the thing will flap out quite substantially if you don't fix that down. So what you're going to have is you're going to have 4. I'll show you one. There'll be 4 little anchors. Now, there'll be a green line on one side, purple line on the other side. So what you'll do is you'll put a little bit of glue on the purple side, fold him over, hold him together like that, and then you'll put some glue on the green line, fold him over like that, and you can see what we've done there. We've built like a little V, and I guess you've probably worked out exactly where it's going to go. So with this, he's going to go in there like that in the corner, and what that'll do is that'll give us a fixing point for, you can see there, that's going to give us a fixing point for the long part of the star. So you can do it either 2 ways. You can either put the glue on the actual anchor itself and slide him in, or you can put that in there and slide that in. Whichever way you think you want to go, doesn't really matter. So get him in like that. Now, I would say that you'd want to be careful that when you're looking at it, you want to make sure that these are straight. If you push this guy in too far, you'll get a bulge in it. So you don't push it in too far, virtually just till it makes contact, press it together. You want to try and keep those nice and straight. So I'll do that again for you. So you can see, glue on the purple dot, on the purple line, fold over, glue on the green line, and fold over, and that gives you a corner. And then you glue whichever way you want to go, either on there or on here. I do it on the actual anchor itself. Hold it, get it roughly in position, push him into where you think he's going to go, and just hold him there for a second, making sure those things are nice and straight. You can see how nice and straight they are, and flush there. The third time, little bit of glue on the purple, fold him over. This glue does get messy. A little glue on the green, fold him over, corner, glue either side, hold him in position there, hold him flush, nice and flush there. Doesn't matter if it's a bit lower, certainly don't want it too high. And your last one, glue on the purple, glue on the green, over it goes. And there you are. There's your 4 anchors. In here. Like that. So what that does is, it will hold, well, they do a couple of things. They'll hold the sides in together, stop them from flaring out. It'll give you a fixing point. These actually hold the corners from flaring out, gives you a fixing point, and overall stiffens the actual unit itself. Okay, now I will stop the video and I will come back and we'll proceed with the next step. Okay, so we've prepared our element. I've peeled most of the tape off here. You can take the tape off after you've put the anchors on, because it pretty much holds itself together. You can apply any extra glue that you want to the insides there, wherever you feel you want to. And now you're ready for fitting the back onto the anchors. So when you get the back, it'll be folded in half, as the face will be, separately packed. Now, there'll be 2 sides. There'll be the side that's got the slit in it, blue dot, and where we fit our pixels. We use square pixels for this one. We find that works better than modules. Gives a nicer effect when individual dots. And the back's where we supply a couple of anchor points. They're optional whether you want to use those or not, but that's where we suggest you put them. You can put them wherever you like on the back. So the usual procedure, a clear tape, which will hold the slit together. This tape is a bugger to peel off every time. So clear tape, tape straight over the markings there where the modules will go. That won't affect that. Take him out, trim him up, and get him cleaned up there. So the if you've seen any of our other videos, you probably know that it's pretty straightforward procedure to get this thing fitted to the back, to the element. So just line up the blue dot with the blue dot on the face there, just to make sure that everything fits together. That way, when you take this off, you know you've got a reference point, and you're not forever checking to see where your fixing points go. So if you just line up the 2 blue dots together. Now, I suggest you can either use a pencil, what a pencil is, to mark where the anchors are. So you can see there where the anchors are. So if you want to do that, and maybe it might be easier if you actually go along and fix one in at a time. It probably would be easier. That way you're not forever relining up the relining relining the holes when you're putting in the fixing. So what we'll do is we'll just put one in. Don't put one over here, because that's where you, if you decide that's where you're going to put the anchors, that's where they're going to go. So we'll put one through this anchor here. So I know where they're going, but you'll probably need to mark it. So just make sure you're happy with where it's going to go. Just put him in there. Drill a hole through. That's good there. So if you're pushing too hard on it, Phillips head screwdriver, just put one in there like that. Now these bit rough there. So, okay, so now you just put the fixings wherever you think you want to put the fixings. So, I'll put another one over here. So you can see it's pretty easy procedure. For the sake of this, I'll just put a few in, just to give you an idea. And you can see, yeah, that's a bit twisted, but that won't matter because you just twist him around. Now, this one here is where we need to mark the mark it on the back, so you don't actually go too far. Again, like I said, you'll probably find there's some extra core fluid in the kit, so if you want to put extra anchors in there, you can. So you can see that straighten that up. Once you've, you can see that's a little bit crooked, and then all you do is just straighten it up when you bring it over. So let's bring them over there like that, and that straightens up the width and the length. And that's why we use the blue dot as a reference point, because you're not forever trying to line all these holes up. So you can see what I'm doing there. I'm just going along, fixing that in. Now, I can't remember how many screws we supply, but if you want to put extra screws other than the ones that we've supplied, obviously you can. So you just go along, do one at a time, fit them in. Once you've fitted the once you've fitted the back, what you'll do is you'll remove it, which we'll do here. We'll just do that now. So we'll take the screws out there. So once they're fitted, you will, like I said, you'll use that blue dot as a reference point. Yeah, I mean, they'll all line up. There's a little bit of play in it, obviously, because it's only a core fluid material. So whenever you put that blue dot down, your holes will always line up wherever you've screwed them, so you won't have any issues with that. So once you've done that, you can take the back off and proceed to fitting your pixels to the back. Now I'll stop the video and then I'll come back and I'll show you how we do that and how we assemble the rest of it. Okay, so we've got the back off the element. Now, the green marks are the marks where we suggest that you can put the square modules. Now, you can use the rectangular modules if you like. We prefer, depending on how you want to put them, you can put them wherever you like. We prefer to use these. They give a nice effect on the face of the actual element. You can check our video out and see how that works, and you'll see that it's quite effective. Now, again, and I've mentioned it in other videos, but because most of these square modules come with the cables coming out the bottom, they don't actually sit flat very well. Now, if you were using these little fixing points here on the unit, on the module, yes, you could screw them down and it wouldn't be a problem, but because we don't want to screw and we can't screw into the core fluid, what we do is, well, for a start, I trim those off. I don't want those. I actually cut those guys off so they don't get in the way when they go down into the sides. They don't get in the way there. And what we supply you is a little core fluid block. Now, if you've seen our other videos, you can see what happens. We actually glue that onto there. So you use a bit of glue, glue it onto the back of the square module. And what that does is that when you sit that down, those cables come out quite nicely and don't interfere as they would if you were pressing down on them. So I suggest that you glue these blocks to the modules first as opposed to gluing them in the spaces, because if you do that, then you get a bit more flexibility when you're moving them around. If you have to move the actual, if you want to manipulate the cable to get it somewhere else, so you can actually move that. So get the block, glue it to the square pixel module, and once you've done all that, then you can work out how you're going to wire these. I mean, obviously, you won't be able to stretch back to there, so you're going to have to do some extension cables to make these join up. But what we'll do is, for the sake of getting this done, I'll get all these modules glued down and wired up, and then after that we'll just fit the brackets on the back, and that'll be complete. So I'll just stop the video and I'll show you how I wire it once it's done. There are other videos that we've got that have the same principle, using these and using the block. So I mean, you should be able to work that out. It's pretty straightforward. So we'll do that. We'll get those things glued down, and then we'll come back. Okay, now we've wired up our back here. Now, again, like I said, you don't have to use the square modules. You can actually use the rectangular ones if you like. I mean, the effect that we get on this is a lot nicer. We prefer it with the modules. You can check out our website and see the videos in action of the unit. Now, so once all the modules are applied, we don't punch any holes in the back of these things for the exit cables. We leave that up to you, depending on how you want to wire them. So you won't get any cables or holes for that purpose. So once everything's in position and it's fixed down, you can see what I've done there with the little blocks. So that raises up the module, so that the cable can pass back underneath. You can see I've moved this one forward because it was interfering with some bits and pieces. We'll make a modification to that. Get your cabling all out the way. Trial and error. Once you've got it done, you'll see if it fits correctly. You also might notice that I've actually made a change to these things. I actually applied the wrong size anchor, so I've changed the anchor, but the principle of fixing them is the same, so that won't change from the other ones, the slightly longer ones that were there before. The corner ones don't matter, they're okay. So once you've got your thing all wired and you're happy with it, you've already pre-drilled the holes from previously. I'll have to re-drill these because these are new anchors, but that won't matter. So blue dot to blue dot, so that you get a reference point. Tuck him in. And he should fit in quite neatly in there, like that sort of thing. So I just have to play around with it a bit just to get it nice and neat. I'll just put this fixing in here just for the sake of it. So you'd screw that back in, obviously, going through the process of fixing all the screws back into the positions where you had them before. And this is where you might find you might need some extra screws. I'll just have to re-drill. I can't re-drill that one because it's in the wrong spot, but we'll just re-drill that one here through the new bracket I put in. Again, like I said, once you get this kit, you'll probably find there's some extra strips in there for you to play around with in case you need extra anchors or whatever. So once you can see it fixes down quite well once you've screwed it down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, probably 8 screws would be plenty. The last thing, and that'll be your unit complete, so it'll be ready to go. The last thing that you'll need to do, if you want to, is fix these optional brackets. Now, the brackets are there basically, and if you've seen our other videos, you'll see what it does. It basically gives you a situation where you can actually put that round the wrong way. When you're mounting the unit on a brick wall, you've got a little bracket there which will give you the ability to screw into a wall plug which will fit into the wall. So and it gives you that ability to sit the unit proud of the wall so that water can get back down below it. And what it'll do is when you take it away next year, when you take the unit away when you finish with it, they'll obviously come away with that. You'll have the wall plugs in the wall ready for installing back in the same spot next year when you go to install it back in the same spot. If you decide you want to put it somewhere else, well, that's fine too. So I mean, if you haven't seen our other videos, the process is very simple. I'll just go through it quickly with you. I'll just undo this. So basically what you do is, now you can use the marks we've marked on the back, or you can put them wherever you like. Green dots to the inside, that has to be somewhere so that you can actually get to it with a screwdriver. So you have to be able to get to that with a screwdriver so that you can screw the fixing in. But we'll just put one on here just for the sake of it. I'll just screw that down because that's actually, so we'll just do that. I'll just fit that in position there like that. Obviously checking that, you know, you don't drill into one of your cables or a node, depending on where you've put it. You then take the screws. There'll be the screws and the nuts. So push the screw through. Take the little nut. Put the little nut on. You probably can't see that. Put the little nut on there. So you can see what I'm doing there. It is a bit fiddly, but put the little nut on there and screw him on. So you can see there the nut going onto the screw. Straighten him up. Tighten him up. Just firm, doesn't have to be anything overly tight, it's not going to go anywhere. So you can see I've fixed that on there. You can see the little nut fixing is there, so I'll put my other one through there. Just drill that through there. He's gone through there. I'll push the other one through, wherever I put that. Push him through there. Tighten him on. You can see there, just slightly start him up. Tighten him on. With a slotted screwdriver. You'll need a slotted one for this. I forgot to mention that at the beginning of the video, but it doesn't matter. So it does two things. It gives you the ability to sit the unit. That one will be over here somewhere. So the unit will sit off the wall. You can see there'll be a gap off the wall, and it'll give you the ability to get these cables back behind. If you're mounting this on a wall, these will be able to come back out and run up however you're going to do it, through some conduit or some protective covering or whatever you're going to do. And that works quite well. So it acts as a packer and a fixing point. So that's pretty much it. Like I said, it's a simple element, but it's very, very effective when it lights up. So if you want to check out our videos, or our YouTube channel, you'll see this one lighting up, and looks quite good. Hope you enjoyed that, and that helps.